Currently, aside from the road tax, the government does not collect additional fees from licensed taxis and bus operators. Does the minister plan to introduce a fee system similar to vending licenses for public transportation? At this time, the ministry is not actively pursuing the introduction of an annual fee system for licensed taxis and bus operators. While the idea is something that could be considered in the broader context to improving the public transportation regulation and oversight, it is not a priority at the moment. Our current focus remains on supporting the sector and addressing pressing issues such as fare adjustments and ensuring that operators are able to continue providing an essential service to the community. Any future consideration would be done carefully with full dialogue and engagement with stakeholders. The previous minister discussed placing a no loitering sign outside the harbor along with fines to deter illegal drivers from lingering in the area. Are you aware of these plans and will they be implemented? No, unfortunately, we're not currently aware of those plans. However, we are actively working on developing a comprehensive strategy to address the issues in collaboration with the Ministry of Justice. This plan will focus on enhancing public order and security in the area, especially in the area in front of the Port of St. Martin. Additionally, the Port of St. Martin has already taken steps to improve security and ensure a more organized and safer environment for both operators and visitors. We remain committed to tracking this issue effectively through coordinated efforts. And the final question, what is the status of the proposed increase in bus fare? The matter of the proposed bus fare increase is currently under active review within my ministry. We are carefully considering the comprehensive advice provided by the Social Economic Council, SER, following the earlier request from the former minister. SER's report urges caution, noting that while bus operators are indeed facing rising operating costs, including fuel, maintenance, and competition from unlicensed drivers, a unilateral fare increase could disproportionately impact lower income passengers. As such, we are taking a balanced approach to ensure that any decisions made takes into account both the sustainability of the public transportation sector and the affordability of the public.
But I think there were a couple questions that were not clear. For example, question number one, how many bus and taxi licenses have been approved in 2025 and how many remain uncollected? The question was not new permits. The idea was that every driver, taxi and bus in January or February, when a new number plate or the stickers were to be collected, that they had to go through a new inspection. With the inspection, it would then be able to collect the sticker. And if these stickers are not collected, then the minister would actually know that these individuals do not even have a bus. So that 550 will go automatically, drastically down, because these are the persons that were actually holding permits only to be able to rent out to other individuals. So again, most of my questions were not just questions, they were global questions, but I had expected definitely that with the support of your staff, Minister, through you, Madam Chair Lady, that they would know exactly what was the meaning and follow up on it. I saw that that is not the case. It is somewhat confusing to me that the government gives a permit and then an association decides who can drive from a specific location. That makes absolutely no sense. That power should be and should only be in the hands of government, in my opinion, with regulations on how it's being executed. Then is the minister of the opinion that we have enough taxi dispatchers? Because those complaints would have actually been solved 8 complaints thus far, if we had enough taxi dispatchers or if all of them were actually active. I know it's 2 minutes, so for now I'll stop there. Thank you, Madam Chair Lady.
Then if the MP, through you, Madam Chair Lady, is referring to the confirmation that was done this year, confirmation of those that registered to receive the confirmation so that they can pay for their road tax, the total amount is 120 was for the buses and 366 for taxis. So of the 521, only 366 thus far has paid their road tax and received a letter of confirmation, and 120 buses received also their confirmation letter. And then regarding the, does the minister agree that government has no road, no. What was the last question? Or do we have sufficient? Well, in all honesty, no. I don't think we have sufficient, but that's also going to be through you, Madam Chair Lady. I think we should have more, but that is also being taken up in the internal review to make a decision on if we need to expand, yes or no. But I personally, my personal opinion, I think we need more taxi dispatchers. Just my personal opinion as well.
Based on the questions that my colleague MP La Cruz asked, and I understood that the internal review will take place, is there a time frame connected to that so that we know when we can expect answers back? That's the only question for now. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. MP Roseberg, Minister Heiliger, you can immediately go into that. Yes, Minister Heiliger, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. MP Roseberg, through you, Madam Chair Lady, as mentioned before, we're busy doing a full review of the policy, and once it's in its draft, we want to also meet with certain stakeholders. So I mentioned that also in my answers, that I would like to also meet with all stakeholders, and once we received all their input and everyone is clear, I will try and have it ready. We're trying to see if we can have it done before Parliament goes to on break, recess. So once I have that final draft, that's one thing you're gonna get from me. Once everyone is in agreement with the policy, I'll come to Parliament and do a presentation and inform Parliament of the changes. So I'm hoping to do that hopefully mid to late June. If not, if I'm trying to make the deadline of July 1st. Yeah?
Stressing that at least one household, a family member, everyone in the household is supposed to know or should know CPR.
That's correct. Aid. That's correct. And in our society, many of us take care of seniors.
Yes.
Many of us take care of children. Many of us take care of persons who are specially abled. So why not? Because of those situations. And of course, we know the phenomena of heat stress and the impact thereof. So why not, acquire these skills so you can be an asset to your community?
True.
Yes.
That is true.
Yes.
You're also going to be talking about shelter management.
Oh, yes.
Talk to us about
Yes,
that.
yes. So shelter management, after the passing of Hurricane Irma and Maria, everyone became an expert in shelter management. Everyone,
Infrastructure as well.
right? Everyone, everyone had an opinion about it, and
This
people
is wrong,
have
that is wrong.
people have their expectations, and at times we believe that it's important for us to stress it's a shelter. It's not a hotel. You're not on vacation. It's a shelter.
Yeah.
You see, and when you're in a shelter, there are certain rules to abide by, right? So with the whole the topic of shelter management, it basically informs the audience of the rules of the shelter. When does the shelter open? What you're allowed to bring? Where the shelters are? We even give tips about how to start your planning, because initially your home is your shelter. Of course, insofar that your home can withstand the particular system that's approaching.
Right.
But initially, your home should be your first shelter. Your second option would be friends and family member. Okay? The shelter, the designated
Last
shelter,
resort.
is absolutely the last resort, and you are encouraged to bring along your own goodies.
Yeah.
So if you are a diabetic, if you need special medication, bring those. If you have a special dietary need, arrange it. Okay, because the shelter would not cater to everyone. You see?
Does the shelters have refrigerators?
Of course. As a matter of fact, each shelter has been equipped with a generator
Right.
and with a water tank in order to supply water to the shelter.
Now, this is drinking water or this is
Yes,
water?
potable
for-
water. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
There's no
But-
showers or anything like
Of
that?
course.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay.
Yes, because
Now you see why everybody thinks it's a hotel.
no, because remember we have to abide by international standards,
Right.
right? So of course with international standards come with hygiene, expectations and rules and such. So they have to be a kitchen. There should be toilets. There should be certain designated areas so that persons can just stay there for 72 hours, and then after that they will be able to leave unless the situation prevents that, right? But technically it's for 72 hours.
Okay, talking about generators.
Yes.
All shelters are equipped with generators.
That is correct.
Now, are the generators running 24/7?
If they are running, you mean during the storm?
During the storm? Yeah.
Well, during the storm, the generator should not be on,
Okay.
because that could be a safety hazard. But afterwards, it would be on in order to make sure that everyone in the shelter remains cool and everything. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And still on shelters,
Yes.
is there let's say a police officer there?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that question. So the moment we receive the signal from the Prime Minister, who is also the chairman of the Emergency Operations Center. So whenever a storm is coming, just picture the Prime Minister changing from one hat to another hat, okay? And then all powers is invested in him or her. So the moment he says, hey guys, this thing's serious, I think you need to open a shelter on this and this time, right? Our organization gets to work. We start to mobilize the shelter management team. We already have the keys and such from the different superintendents. We already have our supplies, okay? So what ends up happening is that the shelter management team, it consists of community development, let's say for example WEAMS or Red Cross, and then you have someone from the justice, so it can be police, VKS, or the Marine. It just depends on the manpower we have at the time. The protocol is so strict that we are not allowed to open the shelter until a police officer is there.
Okay.
That's how strict it is.
Yeah.
And then, of course, once we are inside, the shelter management team remains intact. So we need to have the police presence, because you might have some persons who might not want to comply.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's always great to have someone, someone from the justice on your team.
Also joined by Miss Ria Kudan. Now, talk to us about your experience with the, shelter and shelter management and
So it was
hurricane preparedness?
It was every Monday, and every session I left feeling accomplished.
Yeah, yeah.
What made it intriguing for a lot of people that they incorporated was that they had gift vouchers. So they made sure that everybody was paying attention, and then at the end there was
You
a
get a
series
quiz?
of
Yeah.
questions.
Before
and
you get
those-
the gift card, right?
yeah, so they would ask you a question based on what was presented, and
Right.
those who answered it would get a gift card,
Okay.
a gift certificate.
Yes.
They bribed you, you know that, right?
right?
But it worked.
A lot of people, the sessions was very interesting, and
Yeah.
it kept everybody intrigued. And people like me and other persons, we were there making our notes
Right.
and stuff, because these are skills and knowledge that we actually need
Exactly.
when we have a hurricane, or in general. If we don't, the knowledge that we gain, the majority of it does not really pertain to only hurricane, but our daily life.
Right.
For example, when the meteorological department spoke with us, the lady who presented, she didn't have a boring voice. She had a audience voice.
Okay.
So she kept us interested, and then she
Engrossed,
talked
yeah.
to us about the clouds, the weather, how the sun affects everything, how the rain, what happens even way before a hurricane. She talked about the Nino year, the Nina year.
El Nino, La Nina and El Nino.
Yes.
Yeah.
She discussed a lot of stuff that happens before a hurricane actually forms. And a lot of people was happy that she spoke about it, because this is not knowledge we just get out like that.
Exactly.
And she's speaking to us about that. We was like, okay, this we really enjoyed. And like that, we don't only need it for hurricane. It lets us know, okay, how to see when rain is coming, probably,
Right.
So it's like on an everyday thing. Another thing was when the psychologists them spoke. That is not just for hurricane, because there could be an incident happen in your house. How do you
Exactly.
manage your emotion? How do you assist others? How do you assess the situation to better help them, or help yourself before you help them? Another thing that was that is not only for hurricane, that as Arundel spoke earlier, was the CPR and AED and the aid, because you never know what could happen to a family member or to a friend tomorrow. It doesn't only happen
Exactly.
when a hurricane happens.
Yes.
Or if you injure yourself, how to properly band them. If
Right.
if you're working with youths, if they break their hand or cut, how to sling it properly, So those are things that we use every day. And then the proper technique in giving CPR, like don't bend your arms when you're giving CPR, because that could harm your shoulders. You have to keep it straight, locked in. Your feet have to be shoulder to waist, torso, waist, and depending on how long is a person, and you have to position yourself. Arms need to be level with your thighs and stuff like that. So the giving that enhance people's skills in actually learning how to give proper help to people in the community, basically.
Kamla Persad-Bissessar is set to be sworn in as Prime Minister on Tuesday after her United National Congress, UNC, swept to victory in the April 28th general election, toppling the People's National Movement, PNM, from government after a decade in power. Persad Bissessar will be Prime Minister for a second time and will lead a group of incumbents, new faces, and several coalition partners into Parliament. By 10 p.m. Monday, it was clear that change had come to Port of Spain.
I want to thank our coalition partners joined with us for us to secure this victory. So can we give them a round of applause? And of course, I thank all of you, rank and file members of the UNC who have stood with me through thick and thin, through light and through darkness. You have carried me on a journey that was filled with love, with determination and resilience. I started off this campaign by saying, you will be the real heroes in this story. And I end this campaign saying the same, you are the real heroes in this story.
Based on the preliminary count, the UNC won 25 of the 41 seats, gaining 6 seats from the previous parliament. The PNM dropped several seats in the considered marginals and a once strong constituency in the San Fernando area. It also dropped both seats in Tobago, won by the relatively new Tobago People's Party, the movement in charge of the local government there. San Fernando West, which the PNM narrowly held in 2020, slipped away after a fierce contest in which the UNC capitalized on local anger over infrastructure neglect.
I'm expected to wake up, and I'm very happy with this result tonight because today's my birthday. And I had one wish. I just it was for this picture to see the back of PNM for only great has been the suffering under PNM. And since 2018, I have wanted to see them out of the rent.
And I look forward to keeping with one as I've done, and we will fight and we will fight hard for Trinidad and Tobago. And this with PNM.
In St. Joseph and Tunapuna, historically seen as bellwethers of national sentiment, voters decisively swung toward the opposition. The retiring Dr. Keith Rowley, not Prime Minister Stuart Young, took the podium at Balizé House to announce the PNM's defeat.
It is clear at this time that we have lost the election.
It's time for a new brand that is as bold, vibrant, and colorful as the island of St. Martin, with colors drawn from our diversity, cultural heritage, and nature. Our breathtaking beaches, waters, and sun, the majestic brown pelican, our national symbol, the radiant yellow sage, our national flower, the historic border monument signifying the Dutch and French sides, our exciting cruise, yachting, and boating ports, renowned Maho Beach and St. Martin Airport, the hub to the Caribbean. All these parts come together to create the shape of the island of St. Martin. More than a logo. It's a new brand that engages, excites, and will inspire travelers to book. It's time to tell the St. Martin story, to reintroduce travelers to St. Martin, to honor our past, to embrace our present, and shape our future. Our culture and diversity, Dutch and French sides, unrivaled cuisine, twice the nightlife, entertainment, and shopping, cruises, boating, and yachting, twice the adventure, exploration, and relaxation. splendid and scenic accommodations. Pinel, Tentamar, and island hopping in the Caribbean. Whatever your taste, St. Martin has more. Experience twice the Caribbean. St. Martin.
Watch out, the man, people. Cause this girl gone wild. Take it up if it's real. Shake it up if it's right. Watch out, the section wide. Cause this girl gone wild. Bend down and touch your toes, girl. And let me see you touch your toes, girl. Can you hear me? Rum, bum, 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 bum. Please don't beat it. Beat it. Bend over, girl. Beat it. Beat it. All the other men don't beat it. Beat it like a drum. Rum, bum, 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 bum. Please don't beat it. Beat it. Bend over, girl. All right? Beat it. All the other men don't beat it. Beat it like a drum. Rum, bum, 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 bum. Please don't beat it. All the other beat it. Beat it. All the other men don't beat it. your man, shake your cherry tree. We're gonna put us. Don't make no man shake your poetry. Shut up. Come on, somebody put on it. Work hard for your money, no bull hard for your money. Work hard for your money, no bull hard for your money. Work hard for your money, no bull hard for your money. Whoa, you the I got a smoker. That make a